Life is hectic enough without worrying if your lights will stay on or if there's hot water for your child's bath. So count on natural gas to keep the energy flowing, even when the weather is unpredictable. Natural gas is always there to keep your home warm, showers hot, and food cooked to perfection. That's why America has relied on safe and affordable natural gas for more than 150 years. And we will be here for you and future generations too. You can count on natural gas from Southeast Alabama Gas District.
The Walmart Distribution Center in Brundage is now hiring. We've extended our $2,000 signing bonus until the end of January 2022. And you can go back to school with our Live Better You program. Apply online today.
Our community is the driving force behind our stores. Our commitment to you has been our #1 priority for over 30 years. Whether it is providing quality, fresh, local, and affordable products or aiding local schools, churches, and charities, Piggly Wiggly is here for you.
I wish you could taste how much better food tastes when cooked on a Green Mountain grill. But I can let you in on the reason that's true. Our pellets contain water, so they create steam while you cook, keeping your food moist. Does a gas or charcoal grill do that? I think not.
Come and see us at Southern Grill and Patio just off the square in Troy.
Good morning and welcome to Today in LA. My name is Mike Amos. His name is Bill Rice Jr. as we start a Monday, on a sleepy Monday. Anybody that stayed up and watched that game last night, they saw perhaps the greatest game ever played.
That's a bold statement, though.
I'm gonna tell you, it was Kansas City won the game in overtime, 36-33, and in that game, in the last less than 2 minutes to play, they scored 25 points.
I know, amazing.
Hey, just unbelievable. People were having
Back and forth.
Having an unreal deal about over and under.
Was that it?
Oh, boy.
Well, the Chiefs won in overtime. They said the overtime was anticlimactic. The guy I was just listening to on the radio on the way in said that he's upset that the other team didn't get the ball in overtime.
That's right. That's right. Good morning, Today in LA. How you doing?
Morning.
Did you stay up and watch that game, Mike?
I mean, probably the greatest NFL game I've ever seen.
I just said the same thing.
I couldn't believe that they scored that many points. I mean, Kansas City and Mahomes, I mean, he was just phenomenal.
Both of them were phenomenal.
How in the world you can get that many yards in 10 seconds? I mean, they had 13 seconds left from the 25
Oh, it's
yard
unbelievable.
They get about 16 on the first play to Tariq Hill, who actually played at West Alabama his last year of college football after he got kicked off the team at Oklahoma State. So that little guy played at West Alabama of all places.
Yep.
Which one? Number Hill? Yeah.
Number 10 played at West Alabama.
Yeah, that's right. Boy, he looked like he'd been shot out of a rifle.
Yeah,
and then they hit their great tight end for about another 17, 18 yards.
Boy, he's
very manageable 49-yard field goal, even though the kicker had missed one from 50 and missed an extra point. But if you knew they after won that coin toss, that's the only bad thing about the NFL is their overtime rules. If they score a touchdown on that first drive, it's over, and that's what happened.
Exactly right. Their tight end is, I've seen a lot of great tight ends, but Buddy, he has got to be maybe the best. The Kansas City tight end.
Yeah, named Travis Kelce.
Kelce, where did Kelce come from, Mike?
He played at Cincinnati in college.
Cincinnati, boy, he's a great player. But Mahomes, let me just say this: the thing that lost him, of course, what happened, Mahomes, in 13 seconds, he went from the 20 to the 25 and kicked the field goal to tie the game up. But the thing was that everybody is stunned about, of course, 13 seconds. why did they kick the ball in the end zone? It would if they would have kicked it off regular, and sort of a scuff kick, squib kick, whatever you want to call it. They would have been able to have probably 6 or 7 seconds instead of 13. And how in the world they did it?
Oh, I see what you're saying. So that's right. If that would have caused a couple of seconds to go off the clock. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe more than two.
How in the world though do you let guys? I mean, you got to basically grab them at the line. You would have been better getting defensive holding penalties, 5-yard penalties play too.
Yeah.
What I heard a guy say on ESPN last night, he's like, as a defensive back safety, you could have held those receivers.
Yeah, that's right.
They never could have got down the field like that.
Well, yeah, that's right. But now they would have.
A deep squib kick that makes them handle the ball and runs off 5 or 6 seconds. I don't have enough time to get to.
That's right.
If you're basically down to one play, yeah.
Yeah, good point.
It was unreal. Either way.
I mean, Josh Allen, though. I mean,
he's great.
He was phenomenal. The guy threw 5 touchdown passes and long.
He is a great player.
The Bills had the best defense all year long, and I mean, Kansas City, you could tell early, that they were going to have their way with that defense.
Yeah. Boy, I tell you, it was just a super, super game. All of them were great. Man, the high in the world Green Bay fooled around. They fooled around and lost that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. I think as a quarterback, you can kind of see it late in that game, and that's the game. San Francisco just was the tougher team, and the elements and Jimmy Garoppolo. The quarterback, everybody hates him and wants to get rid of him, but y'all found a way to win. And that Deebo Samuel's guy that played at South Carolina, they moved him to running back and wide receiver.
Do you remember him as a player? Was he a good college player?
Yeah, he was a great player at South Carolina.
Boy, I tell you,
he was one of those teams that they had one player on the whole team, and it was him. Yeah.
But now, Samuels was good. But let me ask this: how good is the wide receiver for Buffalo? He scored four touchdown passes and over 200 yards receiving.
Davis. Yeah, but he wasn't their go-to guy. Their go-to guy is Stephon Diggs. And he didn't really have much.
And then they have another guy, the little guy.
They threw it to the little Cole Beasley most of the night.
Yeah, they threw it to Cole Beasley.
But yeah, when Green Bay went up 7-0 in that game against 49ers, I was like, man, this is going to be a blowout.
Yeah.
They just made it look easy.
Yeah.
They didn't score a touchdown the rest of the game.
No, I know it. It was just terrible. But, they...
great games all around. The Titans, that quarterback, I don't even know how he went back to the locker room, Tannehill. Basically, they're trying to go kick a field goal, and he throws his third interception from about the 40-yard line.
Tannehill might be on his way out after that.
And then Derrick Henry is coming off an injury,
And he didn't play well. He didn't play well.
Yeah, he wasn't ready to go. He only had 62 yards and struggled.
Hey, that guy on that other side was tougher than he was, but no question about it. That running back.
Julio was back at wide receiver and played decent, but
did he even catch? How many passes did he catch?
He called six balls.
He called 6 balls. I didn't realize that. I thought he had didn't play as well,
But that guy kicking the ball for the Bengals, McPherson.
Yeah, played at Florida.
It's from Fort Payne, Alabama.
Is he really? He's from Fort Payne, Alabama.
His brother from Fort Payne just signed as a kicker with Auburn this year.
For Auburn?
Yep.
His name McIntyre. What is his name?
McPherson.
Terry McPherson's stepson. No, I'm just cutting up.
He was kicking 54, 55 yards like it was nothing.
Oh, that's the guy that kicked him so long at Florida?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's from Fort Payne, and he's going to kick for Auburn.
Well, then Auburn.
Well, his brother's going to kick for Auburn. He kicked for Florida.
Yeah, that's right.
The Raiders' field goal kicker from Auburn has been a great kicker.
Yeah.
And the one that some team cut, and I remember thinking, oh my gosh, you have made a terrible mistake, because I knew that guy was a great kicker. He proved it at Auburn for 4 years.
Hey, we hadn't even talked about the greatest comeback ever that didn't happen. Tampa Bay came back from 27-0 And then, I mean, that top guy for the Rams, somebody covering him. Now, from Eastern Washington is the best wide receiver in the NFL. Well, Odell Beckham Jr., this guy, numbers compared to Odell Beckham Jr. is not even close. It's just through the roof.
Well, what's that guy's name, Michael?
His name's Cooper.
Cooper.
He got beat twice late, and you thought they were just going to run the clock out and go to overtime, and they ended up kicking a field goal and beat Tampa.
Yeah, that's right. He found it wide open, and so Stafford, you got to hand it to him. You know, he's a Georgia guy. I think he's from Texas, but he played at Georgia. And boy, wasn't he a great player too? Cooper Kupp.
You see where Alabama got Georgia's top receiver from last year? He transferred to Alabama to play for Bryce Young.
Oh boy, really? Well, I'm glad to hear about that.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, he just plays on the national championship team at Georgia. Trey Burton, who led Georgia in receiving, and he decided to transfer to Alabama.
Golly.
Well, it's just like the Ohio State receiver who just played against Alabama and transferred to Alabama.
Does the Ohio State receiver, does he have any years left?
He did.
Yeah, he's going pro.
But he's going pro.
Is he?
The injury and all. We'll miss him. He was a great player.
These guys saw it happen. I mean, even Mechie, Mechie having an ACL and Jameson Williamson having an ACL, and they were just done.
That's right. It's going to have an effect on their draft status. And now, will both the Alabama receivers, will they actually be able to go into the draft?
Mm-hmm. They're going to be drafted.
Oh boy!
They might. Then, like Michael said, they're not going to be drafted as high as they thought they were, probably because of these late season knee injuries. Just tough break.
Boy, it's cold. How cold is it out here, Mike?
Cold, man.
I don't know. It's 35 at the beach.
Boy, I tell you, it was.
I told Mike, I have my normal freezing issue with my windshield, and so this time I got my driver's seat window down, so I just put my head out the window. And 20 degrees with the wind blowing in my face, and I'm getting frostbite on my face. But that's the way I looked at the road.
What was the temperature today?
I think it's in the 20s.
Steve, what's the temperature now? It's got to be.
I can look it up.
But you know what? My windshield.
28 degrees in Troy.
Okay, 28. So it's a hard freeze.
But before this, it would have been early in the morning. It would have been down to like probably 21, 22.
Well, I tell you what, if you love football, man, you got it this weekend. That was every game was a.
Well, the underdogs won every game except for the last one. And,
last night.
I was playing the underdogs with my little BETSs, so that paid off. Except for that last game, and then I had a chance to win that last game. I mean, if they would have did the squib kick, I would have won that one too.
I know. I need to call you and find out who you like, because you're pretty good.
Jermaine Burton is the wide receiver from Georgia that transferred to Alabama.
And did he play? He played for Georgia this year, then, didn't he?
Yeah, he was the lead receiver. He had over 500 yards receiving and 5 touchdowns for Georgia.
He's not the one that went.
He's originally from California.
Really, another California guy.
Yeah. So there probably was a relationship with Bryce Young, you would think.
Well,
Alabama needs all the help they can get. Boy, if Alabama could get Georgia's tight end, he's going to be a legend, don't you think?
Yeah, I know it. He's going to be.
If he doesn't get hurt, he is going to be better than Gronk and better than this guy at the Kansas City Chiefs that y'all talked about.
To be able to go in the portal, Mike, can you go as a freshman or sophomore?
Yep.
Can you go in the portal?
It's an NCAA rule. You can go anytime you want.
Anytime you want, one time.
Anywhere in the country and not have to sit out a year.
Oh boy, that is something else. That is something else. It's Alabama. I know. I was talking the other day.
Alabama needs defensive guys, though. I did see where Jalen Moody decided to come back, which is good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you're
Jalen
right.
Moody was in the portal. Now he's back at Alabama.
Yeah, he's good enough to play. I hope they don't get another transfer, and then he'll be the odd man out again, like last year.
But well, right now they say that LSU has, can you believe they've already started rating these portals, and LSU rates number one, and then Ole Miss ranks number 2 in players they've gotten
from the portal.
From the portal.
You're right. I mean, they ought to be rating them. It's more important than the high school ratings. I guarantee that. And
I don't know if they go for the football program or their hotty-totty party, and it's probably the biggest party in school out there, wouldn't you say?
Supposed to have the prettiest girls.
Yeah. And but of course,
I don't know. What do you think? Do you think Ole Miss or USC has the most beautiful girls?
I don't know. There's pretty girls everywhere.
They're pretty girls at Troy University.
You can't go wrong any SEC school with pretty girls.
That's true. I remember I don't know if I should I say this?
What?
I went to the Elite 8 basketball tournament in 1993 when Troy was playing in Springfield, Massachusetts. You were up there.
I remember that. I didn't go. I didn't make the trip, but I knew you went.
Covered it for Don Herring and Karen Herring at the Troy Progress newspaper. And in the semifinals, Troy played. Who did they play, Mike? New Hampshire?
They played New Hampshire. They lost. I mean, they won 119, 117.
I mean, it's like 140 to 119. So that showed that Troy could score a lot of points against good teams.
I thought it was a lot closer than that.
No, I mean, Troy lit it up, man. And then they had to come back the next morning and play for the national championship on about 12 hours sleep.
Yeah, I didn't even have that much.
But I was at the stadium, and it was near that state. New Hampshire was near Massachusetts, so they had a lot of people in that gymnasium.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what my thought I had was?
What?
I did not see one good-looking girl in that whole dang place from that college.
Springfield college.
I said, well, New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
I said, it's true that the Southern girls are prettier than the New England, New Hampshire girls. God.
Yeah, I agree with that. Dad and I went to Nebraska one time. Well, actually, Dad and I went to Nebraska. I went 2 times to Nebraska games, and Dad went 3 times. And I felt that way when I went to Nebraska. Wasn't too many attractive people.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I would have thought that you'd have some pretty farmers' daughters out there. But
all those farmer daughters, their daddies got the tickets, so they probably the mamas and daddies kept the tickets, and they went to the game.
I tell you,
I finally got to watch Auburn's basketball team on Saturday against Kentucky, and man, they are the real deal. That Kessler guy, they got to transfer in from North Carolina, 7'1". I think he had 8 dunks against Kentucky.
Oh my gosh!
They got that Jabari Smith, the big 6'10" forward. I mean,
they loaded on it.
South, and the guard they got from Eastern Kentucky that could just drive and penetrate, and they got the shooting guard from Georgia. They transferred into Auburn. That's a great player. I mean,
wait, stop now. All of their star players are transfers in.
4 of them are, yeah.
So there you go. I mean, there's the portal we're talking about. It's working for Auburn, but you're right. Auburn's also
going to be number 1 in the country for
should
the
be.
first time ever.
Well, they should be. I didn't watch.
I watched him against Missouri, right? In Missouri, who Alabama was a 19-20 point favorite, was up by 14 against Alabama in the second half, and Alabama somehow came all the way back with about 11 minutes left and beat Missouri by 10.
Golly.
And now won a couple in a row. And then Troy, who beat La Monroe, a good La Monroe team, on the road on Thursday night by, I think Troy won by 8, even though Troy at one time, Dad, was up by 23.
Oh, man.
In the second half, and La Monroe cut it to 6, but Troy won by 8. But then Troy went on the road. And Troy's all-time record against Lafayette has won 19 out of 24 games all-time against Troy. And Troy loses for the 8th time in a row at Louisiana Lafayette. It's funny, but huge crowd in Lafayette. And Michael Murphy, the former Troy women's coach, is still assistant basketball coach at Louisiana Lafayette.
What was the score in that game?
Troy was tied with 3 minutes to go, and Lafayette went on a 12-2 run and beat Troy by 10.
Oh, boy.
I had Troy +5. Dang it.
What was that line? That line was +5.
Troy was getting 5 points.
Yeah,
Troy was getting 5 points.
They should have got more than that, shouldn't they?
You're wondering when you saw that because Lafayette was only 9-8 before the game. So you're like, man, this is a fishy line.
Well, that's good. Troy was tied with 3 minutes left, playing in front of a big crowd, but Lafayette has our number in basketball. You're right.
Who does Troy play this week? They're back home this week, aren't they?
Troy's got a huge game on the road at the Mitchell Center in Mobile on Thursday night.
And then they come back 2 days later and play them again, don't they?
I think that's right.
Isn't that crazy? They play them. They play them at the Mitchell Center in Mobile, and then 2 days later they're playing at the Trojan Arena.
How's South Alabama doing?
They're doing really well. South Alabama's got 8 transfers.
Oh boy!
It's the portal, and then people are tired of hearing us talk about it. But in football, it's more so in basketball. And in basketball, it's been that way for about, what'd you say, 10, 15 years? I mean, it's
and then
people have been transferring left and right in basketball for a lot longer than football.
And what they're doing, they're telling them come.
Troy looks like Troy really hurt themselves when they ended up getting COVID at the time because Troy was red hot and had a 4-game homestand and won the first 2 pretty convincingly, but then they had to cancel the game against Georgia Southern, cancel the game against Georgia State, so neither one of those games will be played. So South Alabama Thursday night, and then South Alabama and Trojan Arena on Saturday night at 6 p.m. That should be the biggest crowd of the year, I would hope. Saturday night in Troy.
Yeah, let's talk that up. Saturday night at 6 o'clock, Trojan Arena, Troy versus South Alabama. Troy's got a good, exciting team. Big, important conference game. I hope we have a good crowd.
Now, but I can't understand why this game's so close.
Yeah, that's weird.
But that's the way it is.
I'm sure it was a COVID thing. Probably maybe adjusting schedules so the teams would be closer, I guess.
Well, let's say basketball. Let's sum up. Troy's got a good basketball team. Women are always good. Pike LeBlanc, favorite to win the state championship in AISA and their swan song in AISA. I don't know anything about Tuscaloosa Academy in basketball this year. I'm just going to assume, though, that they got a good team. So it'll probably come down to Pike LeBlanc and Tuscaloosa Academy for a basketball state championship.
Of course, everybody's
Charles Henderson is very good.
They sure are, no question about it.
The top 5 in the state.
Yeah. And
so we got a lot of good local basketball, and then I don't know about all our other Wiregrass teams. We'll learn, though. I'll find out.
Yeah, I know. We need to do some research on it.
I know Enterprise, what was it, last year or 2 years ago, played for a state championship, I believe.
They've got another good team. I tell you, they're well coached by one of the youngest coaches out there, and he really does a great job at Enterprise.
We got the official Troy Trojans coaching staff under Coach John Summerall. All the coaches have now been announced. John Summerall, of course, your head coach. Joe Craddock, who came from UAB, is your offense coordinator, quarterbacks coach. Shell Wood, defense coordinator, safety coach, came from Army. Gary Banks, former Troy great, was retained as wide receivers coach. Dan Harmon was retained as defensive run game coordinator, outside linebackers coach. Brock Hayes out of Louisiana Tech as running backs coach. Brought in a guy from Army, Eric McDaniel, as defensive line coach. Big hire here. A lot of Troy guys remember this guy was an all-conference center at Troy from Hoover High School. Played at Troy, then went to Kentucky as a graduate assistant. So that's the relationship with Summerall. But you'll remember this guy. His name is Ian McKissick. Evan McKissick was a former great Troy player. Is now the tight ends coach.
Okay, all right, great. That's good.
So he went and coached with Slarman when Slarman got the job as offensive line coach at Kentucky.
Okay.
Then Al Poe is retained as cornerbacks coach. He's a really good cornerbacks coach. They brought in a guy that was at Central Arkansas but played at Ole Miss in college named Tyler Pope. He's going to coach inside linebackers. Then this is Bill Rice's favorite coach, Cole Popovich, who was with the New England Patriots for 6 years. So I would imagine offensive linemen will probably want to play for this guy. And then Rusty Witt is retained as the strength coach. He was under Lindsay as strength coach. He originally was in the Army in Louisiana Lafayette. Adam Hamel is assistant strength and conditioning coach. Jamal Smith, Smooth, stays on the staff.
Smooth. I don't know what old Smooth must be doing something right.
Jamal Smith's been there for like 14 years probably now. And then Caleb Ross, the former McGill Tooling head coach and Prattville head coach, is still the director of operations, hospital relations.
Well, that's good. I tell you, it looks
hey,
like a
one
good
thing we
staff.
haven't talked about, what's up with Auburn's coach getting rid of Coach Mason as their defensive coordinator after 1 year? Did you see
heard
that?
Mason was wanting to get back to the West Coast, is what I've heard.
Yeah, probably
I would
so.
think that maybe he might be going back to Stanford.
Yeah. He was the head coach and then going back as an assistant coach. Is that right?
No, he was the defense coordinator under Shaw.
He never was the head coach out there. He was.
So you think Coach Mason was just left on his own?
And he made enough.
I believe so, yeah.
And I'm sure they paid him $2 or $3 million at Vanderbilt at least. Don't you think?
Yeah.
So,
well, maybe two.
He came over here and made some money, and now he's going back to California, Palo Alto, the yuppiest place in America.
Most liberal place.
What's happening is he called in Carson, a guy that was his former offensive coordinator, and he had him as like an analyst. He ended up firing Cornelius Williams in the middle of the season, the former Troy coach, and he ends up having this guy as a receivers coach, who was his offensive coordinator. And then he had another Boise guy that was his former defense coordinator on staff that was, the right guy to Mason. And then Mason decided to leave. So he had all these Boise guys that were on his staff, and now he's kind of promoted them to the same positions he had as they were under at Boise. So kind of one of those type things. I guess he's trying to have a guy that had more experience in the Southeastern Conference and kind of try to rely on those guys. I think he's trying to get back to the guys he trusts and the guys he knows are going to bring to the table. So
they're most loyal to him. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, it's going to be.
Auburn finished 0-5. I mean, there's got to be a lot of people wondering what's going on. 0-5 in the last 5 games.
Boy, I know it. I know. And they had a pretty good football team. Just ask Alabama.
Yes. I still don't know how they lost to Alabama.
Yeah.
Alabama had pulled one of these, a rabbit out of the hat.
Yeah.
One thing about that Alabama game people don't realize, Alabama had over 200 yards more of offense than Auburn.
Yeah. I still say the biggest mistake ever was what of all the places, all the times in football, pro or college, who made the biggest mistake?
Kane Bisbee running out of bounds or getting knocked out of bounds.
No, I don't think so. This one was bigger than that.
What are you talking about?
What school made the biggest mistake? What's the biggest mistake you've ever seen?
Hiring Bill Curry?
Mike, you're coming close.
Hiring Mike Dubose?
No, Mike, mistake.
No, the biggest mistake you've ever seen is Alabama in the kick six.
That guy knows me like a book. He knows me like a book.
He couldn't kick it out of the end zone,
Oh, me. And the guy from the kid from Troy that coached on the staff walked over to Malzahn and say, "Don't you think we need to put somebody back?"
He sounds broken.
Yeah. Yeah, and he told ran up to Malzahn and he said, "Coach, don't you think we need to put somebody back there?"
That guy, Coach Fountain, is brilliant. I mean, he called he's on the Arkansas staff now, and he called a fake field goal, I think, against Alabama this year, and it went for a touchdown.
Did he?
Everything he calls works.
Yeah, well, he's a good coach, and it tickles me that that was worse. Mike, you knew right away that was worse mistake.
Here's what, in retrospect, here's what Alabama should have done. And I thought it at the time, but I can't prove it. Alabama should have just thrown a Hail Mary. They were at the 36-yard line. Send 3 guys down the field, 1 on one side, just throw up. You got about a 1 in 8, 1 in 10 chance you're going to complete that.
Yeah, no question about it.
Better than a guy that has never kicked a field goal in his life kicking a 57-yard field goal.
Yeah. A lot of people don't realize that Alabama's main kicker did not kick that long field goal.
Well, Adam Griffith
never got as upset at the kick six as some other games Alabama's lost to Auburn, because my theory was Auburn was going to win that game in overtime anyway. Alabama could not stop Auburn. Remember, Auburn went right down the field and scored to tie the game. They had the crowd on their side. So if that game had gone to overtime, I would say a strong favorite to win the game would be. That did not lose Alabama the game. Alabama would have probably still lost the game.
Well, this show's brought to you by
Georgia in the SEC championship game with that fake punt. Justin Fields was probably one of the worst calls I've seen, to give Alabama the ball back at about 45 to win the game.
Yep, that helped. Appreciate it, Coach.
What exactly? Which game was that?
That's when Alabama won the SEC championship when Tua got hurt against Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
Hurt brought Alabama back in the SEC championship. Went down as a legendary player in Alabama history.
Yeah. Of course, the Matthews Law Firm is our attorney on duty this morning. I'm sure we'll be hearing from Will Matthews later on in the show. And also Bill Jackson Chevrolet, Bill Jackson Ford in Troy, Alabama, one of the great Ford Chevrolet dealerships around. And then, of course, our good friends Jason Gregory and all the folks at Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep and Ram trucks right here in Troy.
Yeah, I was talking to a guy the other day. He said he's had every truck you can imagine. He said he's had Ford, he's had Chevrolet, he's had every truck out there, and he said he got a Ram, and he said it's the greatest driving, nicest truck out there by far. Yeah,
I've heard that saying, and I feel like I got a good one when I bought mine, and Jason, said, "Hey, you don't need to go any further than right here and buy that Ram truck," and I do love it. It's a very
well. I've driven it on some of our adventures, so I can vouch for it. It is just so smooth on the highway,
and then it's loaded with everything, every buzzer that is known to man. And I find a new buzzer every day. It seems like.
All the bells and whistles.
Want to mention Jean's Flowers this morning, and I tell you, they've got a beautiful, beautiful place located on South Brundage Street. They can send flowers anywhere in this country and around the world. They can send flowers from Jean's Flowers right here in Troy, and we appreciate them as we do Hospice Advantage. And
let me ask y'all I was going to ask you. Our big news on Friday was Pike Liberal Arts going to the Public School Association, applying to go to the Public School Association. Have you heard any more? Or you were at the beach. Did you have a chance to hear much feedback about it?
I'll tell you this. I got the newspaper, and you're not going to believe this. Well, you will believe it because it's so. But that's the headlines right there talking about it. But I want to show you something. Let me tell you the coverage.
We actually talked about that on Thursday.
I know it, but
do a show on Friday.
But I want to tell you this.
That's right, Thursday.
I want to show you. I will show everybody something in the paper, in the Messenger. Well, all right. Listen to this. This is also a response from the school, and hey, pretty lot of information in it.
That's a big story, yeah.
I mean, this is the coverage that the Messenger gave it. It's big news, and
that is probably about a 40-inch column-inch story, as we would call it in the newspaper. A typical story might be 18 inches, and that's about twice as long as the typical story.
And I really believe the move here, and regardless of when it starts and whatever, it's one of the strong moves ever. You want to see
it's a historic thing. Mark this on if you're interested in history and pivotal points. It's like when Troy made the move to Division I in athletics.
And this
Mark
right here,
that was significant.
And this right here is hopefully going to give Pike Liberal Arts a public school schedule that will be very attractive, very attractive and very
economical.
Yeah, everything economical and then exposure-wise, you're not going to get any more exposure than this in high school football.
I tell you what, Pike Liberal Arts will get more exposure from just playing a regular season big game or playoff game than they will from winning the state championship in the AISA, since the sorry press pretty much ignores the AISA, wouldn't you say?
They do.
Except for the Dothan Eagle does a good job. But the Alabama.com, that's Birmingham News, Mobile, Register, Huntsville Times, they don't do jack about the AISA. I've emailed their authors and said, do a story on this and this, and their prep writers, they don't do it.
Yeah. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
At Cost Plus 10%, we offer your favorite brands at the best price. At Piggly Wiggly, we keep it simple. We price our products at cost, then add 10% at checkout. We carry all your favorite name brand foods, and we accept manufacturer coupons. Find us on Facebook and see our weekly specials.
Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, we put God and family first. Look, the new T680s, they're here, they're here. At Wiley Sanders Truck Line, we still have the $1,000 sign-on bonus. We have good equipment. We have Blue Cross Blue Shield. We have a dental plan. We match your 401k up to 4%. Remember, at Wiley Sanders Truck Line, these wheels roll, you make money. Come drive for the best today. Come to Wiley Sanders Truck Line. Tell them, boy.
In the market for a new or pre-owned vehicle? We've got what you're looking for.
So come see us at Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC in Troy, and you too can experience the Jackson satisfaction.
Bill Jackson Chevrolet Buick GMC. Shipping Wars is back and bigger than ever.
More work, more money.
These shippers have a long road ahead. Who will come out on top?
If we can get it there on time, we'll make some good money.
Shipping Wars. New episodes Tuesdays at 10. Only on A&E.
The Walmart Distribution Center in Brundage is now hiring. We've extended our $2,000 signing bonus until the end of January 2022. And you can go back to school with our Live Better You program. Apply online today.
Anything. Back to our show, brought to you by Oakview Manor in Ozark, Alabama, and of course for assisted living, an outstanding place to go.
Little Caesars Pizza, can I put in a plug for them?
Yes, sir. One of my all-time favorites.
Well, Jack, my son, we had a birthday party for him Saturday afternoon at Express Athletics, the gymnastics place on Highway 231 south of Troy. And so the kids get to play on the trampolines and jump in the little sponge pits and for about an hour and 10 minutes. Then you got to feed them. They have a little party room. Well, we went to Little Caesars Pizza.
Yeah.
I went to Little Caesars Pizza and got 5 pizzas for these kids at the birthday party. For how much you think?
Well, let's see.
$30. $6
a pizza. That's great.
I mean, so I fed the kids and some of their parents. We had leftover pizza, thanks to Little Caesars. And I called it in about an hour early, and I said, I got to pick it up at a precise time because I got to be back when the kids get done playing. And they said, no problem. I went. My 5 pizzas were ready, and I was out of there in 30 seconds. And all those kids had that great Little Caesars pizza.
But that's a great place.
Pepperoni pizza and cheese pizza is what we got.
Now, explain to the folks what this facility does for cheerleading and.
I think they do. It trains gymnastics, and they have a lot of gymnastics classes for 4-year-olds and up, probably. Beautiful facility with vaults and. All the ropes and pulleys and mats that you could possibly want, trampolines. But to supplement their income, they have learned that they can have parties and just let kids run around and play in that huge facility. And the kids can entertain themselves and there's all kind of fun stuff.
They go all over that facility?
Yeah, they get the run of it, and they've got some adult supervision, some college kids that look after them.
That's good.
And they just run around and wear themselves out for about an hour, hour and a half, and then you go do your pizza and birthday cake and open the presents, and voila, there's your birthday party.
Well, it sounds like a lot of fun, and you seem like you had a good time.
We did. We had a real.
Of course,
my wife
how many
did all the
kids
work.
did y'all have?
About 15.
15. So they got 15 presents. Then, is that right?
Yeah.
Did they open the presents there? Or
we talked about that, and we went ahead and opened them there because the kids love looking at the other presents.
Yeah.
So it was a Spider-Man themed party. So Jack got a lot of Spider-Man toys.
Do I hear Mary Prater, Mike? Or Millie?
They're running around this morning. We got to go to the pediatrician. Hopefully be COVID free so they can go back to school today.
Have you got the?
Dad's going to leave around 8 o'clock to go take them down there to see the pediatrician to get hopefully a negative result.
Do you have to have some kind of proof that you got a negative result to even go back to school?
Yeah, you do. You got to have documentation.
They don't know honor system, in other words.
Yeah.
Mike.
We've been testing all week. I've actually tested 3 times, and Monday, Friday, and yesterday, and I still not tested positive for COVID. My wife tested positive on Friday, so I'm the only one in my house that didn't get it.
So she can't go to work this week, is that right?
That's right. She'll have to work from home.
Well, think how much you spend on these tests. I mean, and the government pays for a lot of them, but I've made some posts and I've said, I wonder if more money has been spent on testing or vaccines, because it's just everybody has gotten multiple tests. You've gotten probably 5 or 6 already.
Yeah, I go to CVS and bought 4 tests, and at CVS they have a test for $9.99. That's just one test. I think some places have 2 tests for like $20 or $21, but they say that you should keep your receipts because you could probably write them off. But yeah, I spent $43 for 4 tests.
Oh boy.
Well, you just multiply. There's 334 million Americans. Yeah. How many Americans have gotten a test by now? Every American, pretty much. And then some of them have gotten 5, 10, 20. Football players got tested every day.
I know it. Yeah.
So let's say that there's been 1 billion tests given. That's conservative.
Oh,
I'd say easily 1 billion in America. Well, the tests have got to cost on average.
Do you know how much
$30
is?
You know, when you can do it through a lab, a traditional, and everybody gets, when the hospital gets their cut in the lab and so forth. So that's $30 billion that have been spent on.
I don't know if that's true.
Well, I mean, just think about how much money you're really having to pay too for, all these parents that they have to go to work.
Yeah.
They have to pay for babysitters and people to sit at home with their kids, we actually had to quarantine as a whole family because my wife got it, and then I figured I was going to get it. We were home for a whole week last week.
And your 2 little girls got it, isn't that right?
Well, yeah, they tested positive on Monday, so that's pretty much just, my wife and I knew then we couldn't go to work. We had to work from home all last week. Because neither one of our bosses wanted us to come into, around other people.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
The NFL did something sneaky. They snuck in 2 years into the pandemic. They've been, ever since the vaccine, they've been requiring the unvaccinated to get tested every day, and then the vaccinated don't have to get tested unless they have symptoms. Well, then they just passed it to say that, the unvaccinated don't have to get tested unless they have symptoms now. So the unvaccinated are now being treated like the vaccinated. But I've always thought that don't get a test unless you're sick. Why? I know these schools require them, but it's like, when I had the flu growing up, Mom, and when I was sick, Mom would say, stay home. And then how long would you stay home until you weren't sick? I think the same ought to apply to COVID.
I will say this, that my wife has had it, my 2 girls have had it, and my 2 girls have had more energy and have played nonstop. They've had maybe a runny nose and maybe a little bit of a sore throat earlier in the week, but it's a relief as a parent to know that it did not affect my kids, very much at all, and my wife very much at all. So that is a blessing. Maybe the Omicron, they say, is not as bad as far as dangerous as the Delta was. So maybe this is a sign that maybe these variants are slowly going to get, a little bit better as we go.
Here's what
going to be around.
Yeah, here's what I think. I think you're right. The more people get the variants, more people got Delta, more people have got Omicron, but they're not as severe. So you've got more variants. The good news is people aren't really getting that sick, and they're probably milder cases. But the bad news is a lot more people are getting it. The number of cases in Alabama with the so-called Omicron wave is 2 or 3 times higher than any other point in the pandemic. So, I mean, it's the number of cases are gone through the roof.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's one thing about this whole thing. If my little 4-year-old daughter, Millie, who had 2 of her teachers tested positive over the weekend at the school, sent out a text message and an email talking about the 3-year-old class. And I'll be honest with you, if we wouldn't have known anything about that, we never would have had the girls tested. Because you never would have thought they're even sick.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those crazy things. We didn't mention, the greatest football player in the world possibly played his last game yesterday in Tom Brady. I mean, phenomenal game. I mean, a lot of people think he's going to be the NFL MVP this year with the numbers. I mean, does Brady come back at 45 and play another year?
I don't know. He proved that he can still play, no question about it. But, I would think he would come back. I mean, he's at least still the top, at least the top 10 quarterback out there, wouldn't you say?
Yep.
I'd say he's in the top 5.
Yeah.
I would. If they're going to pay, I don't know how much he gets paid. Let's say $15 million.
I think he gets paid $25 million a year.
Yeah, $25 million. Bless his heart.
I would. It's not every day that somebody gives you $25 million a year. So take the money
and run.
He hadn't gotten hurt seriously in 25 years, so he's not going to get hurt next year. They protect the quarterbacks. This is me, but I'll say, I'll play one more year.
That's right. You're right. And bless his heart, he at least had a chance to go into overtime, and doggone, your buddy from Georgia, Mike. We say Georgia, he played at Georgia, but Matthew Stafford. Everybody said for years and years that Stafford is one of the best quarterbacks out there, but he just doesn't have a lot of good players around him, and I think he proved that with these Rams.
Yeah, might have.
And he's always been.
He's always had a great arm.
Yeah, you're right. Always. Yeah.
He's the quarterback that is sophomore and junior beat Alabama in Saban's first year when the announcer was talking about, what about that Britney Spears? And Todd Blackwood said, huh? What are you talking about? And then the next play, Stafford throws a touchdown pass, game over. And the announcer was talking about Britney Spears.
Tom Brady's net worth is $250 million.
That's his heart.
Well, he needs a little more. He needs to get it up to $300 million, so he needs to play one more year.
Does he make more than any other player?
And then his wife, Giselle, the supermodel, one of the greatest supermodels of all time.
Yeah.
So she's probably worth a couple $100 million.
Well, you would think that he probably has not blown through his money and has probably made some good investments. If he just put it in threw a dart or called Colin McCrary and said, pick me 5 stocks, that $25 million would become $50 million.
Where the market is right now, it's smart to take a look at it, isn't it?
Well, the last 15 or 20 years, the stock market has just gone up in the way. There's no.
Are mutual funds still strong?
I would think so.
Yeah. Which,
I wish I was in it big time for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
All these people, remember when Health South went up, belly up?
Oh boy, I could have bought it at $5 a share.
You could have bought it for $1 a share, for under $1.
And it's coming back,
it's
isn't it?
$62 a share now.
Man.
So you could have done it. You could have said, all right, it's $1 a share.
Right,
you could have said, I'm going to buy 10,000 shares for $10,000. That would now be worth 10,000 times 62.
Boy.
$620,000.
Well, you know, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, it'd be Christmas every day.
Yeah.
I just wish I would have invested in Dollar General because there's one every 5 miles.
Boy, I would think so, but yeah.
I mean, Dollar General down here, literally, there's like, I think 2 in Panama City from the Y to Walton County line, and then there's, I think, 3 or 4 in Walton County that I see personally. I mean, there's plenty. I don't know how many there is across the country. They even have one going out the bank.
Mike, there's at least 5 in Pike County. There's at least 5.
They got one at Banks. They got one at Spring Hill.
Yeah.
They got 2 in Troy.
They got one out of Henderson. That was Henderson Highway too.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They've got at least 5. Yeah. In Troy, Alabama, and it's
You know, I said the exact same thing to my wife about 10 years ago. I said, we need to invest in Dollar General. Of course, I didn't, but I could see it. You know, they're just little Walmarts that are more convenient than Walmart. And then here's the thing. What's behind all of this? Inflation, and people care more about saving money, and so the Dollar Generals and the Walmarts let you save a little money. That's their... So people will support places where they can get a can of soup for 20 cents less.
The number one thing is convenience. Hey, the word is convenience.
Convenience. Yeah.
That's why they do.
Bacon, eggs. They have like those simple.
Yeah.
You know, that you could actually go get groceries.
Oh yeah, it's fresh. Yeah.
And they don't care about the amenities, or they got stuff in the aisles all the time, and you know, they have 1 or 2 checkout girls. You can see they're trying to keep their overhead as low as possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we use our Dollar General across from First Baptist Church on 3 Knott Street all the time.
A friend of mine is getting in the chicken business, and I said, well, what are you going to do with all these chickens? He was telling me, you know, about all these hens that he got that will lay egg every day. And I said, man, you're going to be run over with eggs. And I said, what you need to do is put somebody on the bypass that free eggs. But, you know, what do these people do when I reckon they just give them away, but hopefully they don't waste them, you know.
What, chicken, the poultry business?
Yeah, no, what they do is they raise it, they bought some hens. And,
just for their house or something.
They're trying to have eggs in their house.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what a lot of these...
people, that's smart.
Everybody wants their fresh
fresh eggs. And
well, all the...
A lot of houses in Mountain to have that.
I know.
The preppers believe in chickens, and then I know a guy, I'm not going to say his name, that was raising rabbits for the protein.
Yeah.
Cheap protein.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this now. Rabbit's good now.
Remember when Red Williams, the former Troy,
had the buffaloes.
Athletic director, Red Williams had a heart issue, and his family brought in tons of buffalo.
Yeah, that's right.
Outside of Troy, there was tons of buffalo on a farm.
And they're talking about it's a good lean meat, you know.
So what would he do? He would eat those buffalo that he raised.
He would sell them, I reckon, most of the time. But I'm sure he ate them. Yeah.
He brought them in for the meat, though.
Yeah.
It was better for you. Yeah.
But that was they don't do it anymore.
I got to get on the road, take the girls. I'll talk to you on tomorrow.
All right, take care. Good.
All right,
good
go
to see you. Mike Amos calling in from Grayton Beach.
Well, I hope he gets a negative test for those girls, so they can get back to their life.
I was at the beach this weekend, and I'm gonna tell you, it was cold.
What do you do at the beach when it's that cold?
Well, what I do is sit in there and watch TV. I watch football the whole time, but. You know, it was a beautiful.
Did you get some of those donuts from Thomas?
It was rough.
Donuts?
Oh yeah, I'm always buying donuts, but I'm going to quit. I'm gonna go on a no sugar diet.
Good. That'll be good.
And I got to have some help.
I do too. Me
I'm
too.
going to have to go in and I'm going to take all the sugar that I've got.
Yeah.
From suckers.
The weight will fall off of you.
Hey, from suckers to
quit eating,
cookies
quit
or
eating
whatever.
bread on top of that, no sugar and no bread, and you watch the weight fall off of you.
I don't need to necessarily. I am concerned about the sugar because it's going to really
doesn't the bread convert into sugar? When you,
yeah, that's right. So, like you take fruit like apples and oranges. I love apples and oranges, and especially oranges. And I'm liable to eat 3 or 4 oranges a day at least. And but they have sugar, but it's like my wife said, it's the right kind of sugar.
Yeah.
It's not like eating a bunch of cookies.
Yeah.
And
I gotta join you. We're going to Disney World spring break, and I can't walk around that big park unless I'm halfway decent shape, and I've got about 70 days to lose some weight and get in shape. I put it off.
Are you going to stay inside have you already got your reservations inside?
Mm-hmm.
So
we've never been. I went on our high school senior trip. Some of us went to the Bahamas. Your kids might have done that. Miss Wagner would always take about 30 kids on a cruise to the Bahamas. One of the best times I've ever had in my life. So my parents, that was my graduation present. Well, on the way down to Miami to get on the cruise ship, we stopped in Kissimmee, Florida for the night, and we went to Disney World. But I got about 5 hours at the park. What can you say of Disney World in 5 hours? Right? So that's the only time I've been to Disney World, and
well, I did went a couple of times with my children growing up, but
what did you think? Are you glad you went?
I think it's wonderful, especially like I said, if you were staying inside the park, and then all you do is step on an escalator and go into the park anytime you want to.
I think we can get on one of those subway trains and.
But that's the way to do it. You're doing it first class.
Your wife is planning, and she's got a planner that's helping her. And I'm just happy in that we delayed it until Jack was 6 years old.
That's perfect.
So now he's behaved, and but the main thing I think, Mike, is he'll remember it when he's older.
Yeah, oh yeah, he will. This is a good time.
I've had this debate with people. When are your first memories? I can't remember much before I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
So if we're going to have this one great family vacation, I at least want both kids to remember it. And maybe now that Jack's a little older, he will.
Yeah, he just turned 5. Is that right? 6. Okay. That's plenty.
And then Maggie is 10, so she's still old enough to enjoy it. So
y'all just going as a family?
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like fun. Really, it's something that they'll always remember. I've always, with my children, I've always wanted to do things that they would always remember.
That's right.
Mike,
memory.
Mike, I'll tell you this, and some people will think I'm silly when I say this, is that I can remember taking my son, 4 and 5 years old, to an Alabama game. And when I got to the game, you could always go in Legion Field then. I always like to go to the bottom area. To watch the players up close. You could do that, especially if you got there on time. And hey, we'd set up right no further than 15 feet from Coach Bryant, and we'd take all kinds of pictures and everything. And I've got pictures at home with Mike. He was about 4 or 5 years old, but maybe a first grade. I'm not sure. But we always I'd be holding my little boy, and I'd get somebody to take me a picture.
Wow, those are great.
But that was years ago, and it was a lot of fun, to do those things special. And I used to go to spring training, and usually I'd take my son, Michael. We would go to the spring training. Baseball.
Oh.
We did that.
Down in Florida.
We did that quite a few times, and hey, your son is out there with Pete Rose and some of the great Phillies.
And you get to hang out with them a little bit.
Oh yeah, well you do. If they now Pete wasn't the friendliest guy in the world, but
some of them were.
Yeah, they had just won the World Series. But I used to go about every other year to spring practice, and we'd stay down there, 3 or 4 days.
What teams would you go see?
Yeah, well, I didn't get to see the Yankees. They were on the other side but I'd always see the Phillies and Boston Red Sox, the Minnesota Twins, and that was Bo Jackson had just started. Last time we went, Bo Jackson had just
with the Kansas City Royals.
With the Kansas City Royals. And then that was Baseball America. That was a huge baseball. The part there, and
that's a huge deal. A lot of people do exactly what you're talking about. Do these spring training tours.
And it was fun. And I would take 3 or 4 boys. One time I took 3 or 4 boys, and I stopped by Florida State. It was doing spring practice. Heck, we walked right into spring practice, and I was in sort of a hurry because I was wanting to move on down the road. But in Tallahassee, you couldn't help but drop by and see Bobby Bowden.
And you did it.
Yeah. I'll tell you something funny.
You stopped, and he stopped practice to come get a picture with you.
Let me tell you this. You're exactly right. I walked up to him. I said, "Coach, can I get a picture with my kids of you, Coach?" And he said, "Sure, Mike, but wait till after practice." So we waited after practice, and sure enough, he came over there. We had our pictures taken.
Only Bobby Bowden would be that.
Bobby Bowden, the late Bobby Bowden, was one of the great men in America. Yeah,
I've just heard too many people say similar stories about him, and I've had some dealings with him when he had his football camp.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
he just couldn't be a nicer man.
Yeah, he always and Terry the same way. Terry and I got to be, and of course the other one that used to coach at Clemson. Those two were really close to, because of the camps and everything. But hey, they were just as nice as they could be, and they just won a national championship.
You're talking about going down before the game to the track around Legion Field. You could do it at Tuscaloosa. Had a little concrete area around.
Yeah, well, see, you could walk all the way around.
You could get close to the players, and I remember Bobby grew up going to a lot of games. He would go with our family, but he'd also go with the Schroeders, Gene Schroeder.
Yeah, sure. Schroeder, big Alabama fan. Yeah,
Tracy was a majorette, and she was the prettiest majorette.
Oh,
so
she
was always on TV.
Yeah.
And so the band would go out on the field before the game to perform, and so Bobby and Gene, they would sneak out like with the band and get on the field. And then Russ Wood was playing, and I think he dated Tracy for a little while. And they would always see Russ Wood. And
he had hit and knocked down by Russ Wood at the Alabama 14-yard line as the Crimson Tide will take over on downs. And across the way, Coach Paul Bear Bryant gives the boy from Elba a big hug.
I got to do it one time when my friend Charles Bradshaw was being recruited his senior year. The recruits get to take a buddy on their recruiting trips. And Charles would take me, so I got to go to James at Auburn and Alabama.
Yeah.
And the thing I remember that you go on, the recruits go out on the field in warm-ups. So you get to watch the players up close warming up, which was really cool. I can remember Auburn's running backs doing Bull in the Ring, where they get one.
Oh, yeah.
And how violent that was. And they weren't even hitting each other.
I tell you what, they did away with that drill. They won't let you do it anymore. And but I've got several hamstring problems. I've had several injuries from doing
I stood right by the Auburn running backs doing it before the game, and so they were all. But then the thing I remember at the Alabama game was watching the defensive backs do their pregame warm-ups, and Alabama had a defensive back named Jeremiah Castile.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, my gosh, I have never seen anybody that could run backwards so fast, or that could change directions from backwards to forwards so quick. So getting down on the field, you get a different perspective about how quick and powerful these players are when you're that close to them.
No question about it. And it was just a wonderful experience. We called it field level. That's what we said. We got to get there early enough to go down to field level, and that's where we always went. And that was where they were working out before the game. And they had their names on the backs back then. And that's one thing, Coach Bryant. A lot of coaches were so conservative that they did not put names on the back.
It was a big deal when Alabama finally did it.
But Alabama, you're right. Alabama finally did it, and you knew all the players, and
I want to tell you something about
it was a lot of fun.
I also spent a lot of time on the sidelines at Troy college games. First, I was a water boy for Coach Bradshaw's teams, and then I was a sports reporter, so I covered Coach Blakeney's teams. But I always thought, even going back to Coach Bradshaw's teams when they were Division II, that the fans did not appreciate how darn good and violent that football was, even Division II.
Oh, it was college football.
Man, and then I was on the team that won the state championship at Charles Henderson. So that was some intense football at the highest level when Charles Henderson won that state championship, playing all those good teams. But it was night and day between what you would see at a Charles Henderson game and a Division II Troy game.
Well, there were some great players.
I tell you, that was for men. If you saw, you would see a tall sweep to the running back, and then the safety would get a head of steam up, and they would meet at the sidelines on the tackle. If mothers saw that from 6 feet away, like I used to, and heard it, they would say, "No, that's it. My son is not playing football."
Let me just say this: if you back then, if you were a strong Troy fan, you could go out on a 50-yard line with them. They wanted you to come out and be a part of their program, and from Coach Gailey to Coach Rhodes to Coach Bradshaw and.
Well, you've seen it up close your whole life.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've had a real lot of fun supporting my Trojans, and
Well, you just look at some of these guys and say a running back or a linebacker that's 5'11", 220, bench presses 400 pounds, runs a 4.5 40. Can you imagine the force that they can generate when they have to?
Yeah, no question about it. There have been a lot of great players come through Troy's program, and we've really benefited by being a part of it. The more you get around it, the more you want to be a part of it. It's really a lot of fun, and I enjoyed, especially with Chan Gailey and Rick Rhodes. No profanity. That's the worst thing you could do at Troy when they were coaching was use profanity. And now later on, it wasn't the same with Big Wayne Bolt and some of those guys.
That's all you hear is profanity.
But Coach Blakeney and Coach Rhodes and Coach Maddox, they ran it. They ran their program in
I think about it, and I see how tough it was then, and now they have all these rules where you got 2-hour practices, and they control hitting, and they even tackle on, mattresses now. But I think about even like when you played and when my dad played. I mean, they were 3-4 hour practices.
Oh yeah.
Maybe one water break.
Well, that's right.
And the spring training was not 19 practices; it was 40 practices.
Yeah.
I tell you
what, it started every August the 1st, and you practiced hard until Labor Day weekend, and that's when you started playing your games. But you went 30 days of hard practice before you played your first game.
And then you had 3 a days or 2 a day.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You don't have that anymore.
And, most everybody that has ever played, and you're one is exactly, the smell of wet grass early morning is just one of the great parts of high school practice, and then the smell.
So they might not have that anymore.
How about you can smell the sweat of the jerseys there it's just
it would be drenched in 30 minutes.
And you know what? It's a smell you'll never forget. That's just what football was. That out there early in the morning, and it was wet grass.
I'll tell you, when my senior year, I came back after a knee injury my junior year, and I got up to 170 pounds, which I was impressed. Wow, Bill, I was about 6 feet, 170. I looked like a football player.
Yeah.
I only practiced for about 9 days, and I hurt my knee again, but I got 9 days of practice. But after about the first two practices, I weighed and I was down to 160.
I know, you're right.
I mean, I just sweated off. I guess I gained.
Talking about players, one of the players I coached, enjoyed coaching, was Ricky Thompson. I talked to him yesterday, and he was really enjoyed seeing him. And my good friend Doug Carmichael, who's up there in on the water at.
Lake Guntersville.
Lake Guntersville.
It's supposed to be some of the best bass fishing in America, isn't it?
Oh yeah. And he's been up there for quite a while, and a good friend of mine, and he loves the beautiful.
I went to I covered a Dixie Boys World Series in Guntersville one time, and
I was there for that too.
Well, I think Troy won it one year, but the year I saw it, Troy finished second. You know why we finished second? Because Brian Meadows was pitching and his innings ran out.
Yeah.
We were winning.
That's right,
they had these.
But I can remember him playing up there too, and the team won, and they went to the home of Gene Stallings.
Did they really?
Yeah, it was
in Paris, Texas, or where?
That's right, Paris, Texas. Gene Stallings. That's where the baseball tournament was. The World Series.
Man, that was you talk about memories, going to Walt Disney World. Going to a World Series is going to be a memory, whether your team wins or not, that you're going to have for the rest of your life.
No question about it.
I've talked to Brian Meadows about it, and he played in the major leagues X number of years, but I guarantee he has no memory that's more fond and vivid than going to that World Series as
That's
a
right.
14-year-old.
Right. You're right. This show is brought to you every morning, ladies and gentlemen, by Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram trucks on the bypass. They've got a tremendous inventory in right now, and the sales continue to be in force. And tell you, I was talking to Jason this weekend, and he is getting a truckload almost every other day now, and they're starting to really get ready and have these their sales quite frequently. And of course, they're home-owned automobile dealership, and we appreciate them very much being a part of our show. And of course, we've got to cut it sort of short, as we ever do every Monday, for the Wiley Sanders Truck Line show. And of course, looking for a career in the trucking industry, no better place than right here at Wiley Sanders truck lines in Troy, Alabama. And of course, Rice, it's good to see you, my friend. I like your sweater this morning.
Thank you. It comes in handy on when it's 28
exactly,
degrees.
That's right. And of course, has anybody talked to you about the jumping into ice cold polar water?
No. They're going to have to be very persuasive to get me there.
So when does that actually happen?
One thing I would have to do is, to do that, I would have to take my shirt off in public and let people. I guess you could do it with a T-shirt, but I don't want to do that. I don't have my beach body. Yeah. Give me about 2 or 3 months to train.
Hope you have a great day. We can see us again this afternoon at 1:30. We'll be back bright and early in the morning for Today in L.A. We'll see you then.
At Cost Plus 10%, we offer your favorite brands at the best price.